Let's do it. Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of We Be Drummin' here on GiantBomb.com. I'm Alex Navarro. I am your humble video game drummer, and we are back for another week of playing some rock songs in plastic instrument video games. Now, you may have noticed that we are playing a slightly different game this week. There are a number of songs during the height of the plastic instrument wars that came to the Guitar Hero franchise that have yet to make their way into Rock Band, and in some cases probably never will. So, what I thought would be fun would be periodically interspersing my Rock Band streams by going in and rescuing the music that has been held hostage by Activision all these years, and also discuss whether maybe they should come to Rock Band at some point in the future. I think we're going to have a little rating system here and decide whether each of these songs should in fact come to Rock Band. So with this first one, Hotel California, I think for my part, the verdict is...
Oh, hell yeah!
Oh, yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Hopefully that doesn't break the audio in the game. I know something got weird with the Elgato there earlier. That's my bad. I don't know. Sometimes when I play the 360, the Elgato doesn't like it. So, as long as the game audio is still good, we're okay. Here's the thing. I don't like the Eagles at all. I think they are mostly a very bad band. I think Glenn Frey is maybe the only part of the Eagles I ever really liked. But, should they be in Rock Band? Yeah, totally. It's like it just should be. So it doesn't matter that I hate Hotel California. The right thing is that it should be in the game. That's what I think. So we will continue to rate these songs as we go along. I think we will have some fun here. Couple of quick things, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at here. So the Guitar Hero drum set, the one by default, the one that you would buy when you bought the big plastic instrument bundle, it was a different layout than the core Rock Band drum set. The core Rock Band drum set was 4 pads and the kick pedal. The way Guitar Hero charted stuff was 3 pads, 1 rack tom, 1 floor tom, 1 snare, and then they had 2 cymbal pads that were up at the top. Now, eventually, both companies made each other's hardware compatible within the video games, their own games, but the charting is a little different. So, it's not, what you are seeing here is not the full drum chart as you would see it if I was plugged in regular Guitar Hero drums, which I do not own, and I'm not going to go out and buy. It condenses things a little bit. So what would have been the orange cymbal gem and the blue rack tom gem, which I have set up as a floor tom because that's just what I'm used to, they smush those together. So it's a little hodgepodgey. It's not like a perfect representation, but you know, I got used to it. It's easy enough. The other thing, I forgot. Oh, I now remember. This game does not really have playlist technology, or it does, but it's very limited. You can make playlists of up to 6 songs, so we're going to do these in 6-song chunks, and then a 3-song chunk at the end for one particular band, which I'm sure you can all guess what that is. My mic is clipping, so I'm going to turn my mic down a bit, and let me know if that makes things a little bit better. It's always going to be a little buzzy, because it's a wireless mic, but as long as it's not as long as it's not too indecipherable. That's all that matters. That's better. Okay, we'll go with that. So, we will be playing these in 6-song chunks, at which point I will switch over to the camera, and then I will make another playlist. Maybe you'll hear me moving the songs around, maybe you won't. I don't really care. It's not a big deal. I just want to rock. So let's rock some more. What do you say? Let's get to the next song. Let's do it. good ass song. Who doesn't love a little Bob Seger in their life? Well, you know, I think I know what that means.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah. Yeah, that's what that means. That's a hell yeah right there. It's, I don't know, like, Bob Seger feels like one of those ones they should have gone after a long time ago. Or maybe they did. Maybe he just wanted to work with Guitar Hero that much. I don't believe that necessarily, but, what are you going to do? I don't know why it says that I'm playing Pokemon Sword Shield, not Guitar Hero World Tour. I definitely hit the update button on that thing. But you know what? Fuck it. I don't care. Pokemon fans, welcome to the rock. Let's move on to the next song. It's coming. Airborne. So there is one Airborne song in Rock Band. It's Runnin' Wild. This one, yeah. Yeah, not feeling it. Not feeling it as much. Here's the thing. It's not a bad song. It just doesn't feel necessary at all. Like, if they put it in the game, sure, why not? But like, I don't need it. I don't need it. Just don't need it. So there. All right, we got, what, 3 more in this playlist? Let's get through them. Oh, I did 100% on that one. I think that's the first time I've ever 100%ed a song in this game because I have played all of these songs over the last week once, except for a couple, which I played twice. So this is all still... I mean, the last time I think I really played this game was when I still worked at Harmonix and we had a copy of it in, like, our play area. So, yeah, I don't know. It's been a while. But I feel like I'm back into the groove with it. So let's get on to the next one. That song's a lot of fun. I especially love that particular era of Interpol. I think that album in particular is real good. PVA is in Rock Band from that same album. Great song. Obstacle 1, also very, very good. So I think we're going to have to give this one.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah, that's right. That's an oh hell yeah. Definitely an oh hell yeah. Whew. Just realized my stream was still playing in the background on this laptop. Thankfully the audio was down. No big deal. Yeah, that song's great. That song's super fun. What do we got? Two more? Two more in this playlist, and then we'll take a quick break while I set up another playlist, and maybe I'll take a couple of questions from the chat. We'll probably do more questions in between stuff. Just, you know, get them ready. So here we go. Here we go. I don't remember what the last two on this playlist are. Let's find out together. Ah! thinking about it. I'm thinking about it.
Oh, hell
yeah. I mean, it's not the most excited oh hell yeah of all of them. But you know what? Here's the thing. The Cult's fine. The Cult's a totally fine band. They're totally solid. She sells Sanctuary. Very good song. I just think it's neat. I say put it in there. All right, one more song, and we're going to take a quick break so I can set up the next playlist. Here we go. Let's rock it out. I have no real feelings about Black Label Society one way or the other. They have always struck me as a band that other metal bands like more than other people. Which is not to say I have any dislike of them. They just seem like a band that is more for the people who play metal than it is for the people who listen to metal. Now, does that disqualify the song from getting into the mix?
Oh, hell
No.
yeah!
I mean, it says "oh hell yeah," but no, it doesn't disqualify it. It's in. I think we could do it. I think we can let him in. I think we could say to Zakk Wylde, yes, you can be in this game. That's fine. That's what I think. It's fine. That song's fine. Again, there's no middle tier here. It's either a yes or no. I'm probably going to say yes a lot more than I say no. Though I do have a few more on here that are definite no's. So there you go. All right. Well, now that we finished that playlist, I'm going to swap over here real quick, just the old camera, and say hi. How are y'all doing? You having an okay Thursday? We got a weekend coming up. A 3-day weekend. Some people had a 4-day weekend. We did not. We had a 3-day. But that's fine. I'm looking forward to it. I'm glad that we can send the streams off this week on a rocking note. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to start making this playlist. If you've got any questions in the chat, get them together. I'm going to take a few of them before we move on to the next thing. Just give me 1 second here to set this up. Again, I can only do these in 6-song chunks, I regret to inform you. But it is what it is. While I'm here, I'll talk about a couple of other differences, perhaps you've noticed, perhaps you have not, between how Rock Band does drums and how Guitar Hero does drums. So one thing they do very differently is the star power trademark symbol. You have to hit both cymbals at the same time to engage it. And that is not my favorite because you kind of have to guess where the hit would be. You're trying to do it on the beat, but sometimes you're thinking in the moment and it's a little weird. So I prefer the Rock Band way of doing that. The one thing they do very differently is how you do double hits. So what is it? In Rock Band, whenever there's like you want a double hit or like what would normally be like a double hit on a single drum, they split it out. So like a snare double hit is done this way on these two drums. Here they just don't chart it. It's just a single hit on the single drum. Now you can hit both sticks on the drum, and most of the time it'll just be a single. It'll be a single hit, but every once in a while it mistracks it and it gets a little weird. So I don't know. Those are some of the differences. You might be noticing that I am not really using this drum or this cymbal at all, and there's a good reason for that. Guitar Hero World Tour, and I assume the games that come after it, which I have not played a great many of them. I played Metallica, but I didn't play a lot of the other ones. All the yellow cymbal, all the yellow gems are on the hi-hat. They don't chart any drum stuff to this one. Likewise, the green pad is always the floor tom. It is never a crash cymbal. The crash cymbal and the ride cymbal double up on this, which again is swished together here as two things because I'm using the Rock Band drums instead of the Guitar Hero one. It's all very complicated is what I'm trying to say. But nonetheless, it works pretty well. Like, it took me a little time to get used to it, but I feel like I got into a good groove with it, so I feel pretty okay about it. Anywho, let's see what else we got. Let's see if we got any questions real quick here before we jump back into the next one. Alex, if you could get an entire album DLC into Rock Band, what would you pick? I would pick Around the Fur by the Deftones or White Pony by the Deftones. I feel like that's a pretty obvious answer from me. If I had to go beyond the Deftones, I might go for Hum's You Prefer an Astronaut, which no one would buy it, so that'd be a terrible investment all around. I would probably go with... I'm trying to think like what isn't like what is like a good full album that should be in there. Boingo Boingo, Dead Man's Party. I forget if that's the actual name of the album or just the main song, but yes, again, not an album anyone would buy. All the ones I would pick are probably not albums people would buy. So that's maybe I'm not a good choice for that. Dead Star asking, have you ever tried to play a Tool song on real drums? Yeah, I used to play a lot of Tool at home, just for funsies, and I'm not going to say that I was able to replicate what Danny Carey was doing 1-to-1, or maybe even 1 to 1 3/4. But I used to have a lot of fun playing those songs, and we're going to play a few tonight, but that's at the end, so you have to wait for that. How do I like the new Hum album, asks Repeater8. It's really good. It's shockingly really good. And I don't mean shockingly like I didn't expect them to have a good album. I'm surprised how effortlessly it kind of slides into their catalog and just feels like the album they would have made 2 years after their last one, as opposed to 22. 50, however many years. It was 98. 98 was their last record. It's wild. Shouldn't have been that good, but it is, and I think that's stoked. Stephen Wallaby asking, is Danzig's mother in any of these games? Been addicted to that song recently. So, this is as good a time as any to mention this. So, yeah, I didn't just buy Guitar Hero World Tour. I went out and I bought Warriors of Rock, Metallica, Band Hero, Van Halen, and of all things, Guitar Hero Smash Hits, which there are exactly 10 songs on that disc that have not appeared in Rock Band, so I might do that one as a double up. But Danzig's mother is in Guitar Hero Smash Hits, so at some point in the far-flung future, we will get to that one. A lot of those games were not very expensive used, if I'm being honest. I think the most expensive one was like $10, so I don't feel too bad about the investment. But yeah, over time, I will intersperse these Guitar Hero streams with the regular Rock Band stuff, because yeah, it's good to change things up every once in a while. So every now and again, we will go on a rescue mission, we will find some music that has not made its way over, and then we will play it. And if those songs ever come to Rock Band, we'll play them in Rock Band too, because why not? That said, we're not going to play any of the songs that are in Rock Band in Guitar Hero, because that's just overkill. That's not necessary. We're not going to do it. All right. Let's go ahead and get on to the next playlist. I'm going to go ahead and hit the A button here, and then we're going to move over to the gameplay, and hopefully everything is still working. If everything is still working, let me know in the chat. It still sounds all right. Let's go ahead and do it. Here we go. To my knowledge, that is the only Michael Jackson song that ever made it into any of these games. I don't think they ever did any DLC. The closest you're going to get is that Alien Ant Farm cover of Smooth Criminal. That's it. That's the whole thing. It's kind of wild. Do I think it should come to Rock Band? I mean, what do you all think? Yes, there are Jackson 5 songs in Rock Band. That's fair. I'm talking about Michael Jackson solo stuff. Seeing a lot of, nah, at this point probably not. Some hell yeahs. We definitely got some hell yeahs here. You know what? Here's the thing. I think there's better things to spend their money on. It's a good guitar part, but I'm just going to say, for my part, as a drummer, that's how I feel. So there you go. That's the determination. Now, granted, none of this is binding. I'm not making, this is not a lot, like, no one has to abide by my advice. It's purely just my own personal rating system. So there you go. All right, let's move on to the next song in the playlist. I don't know who Anouk is. I looked her up. She's a Dutch singer. I don't know anything about her. I had never heard this song before this game. I've never heard it outside of this game. And boy, that drum tone is, yeah, I'm gonna have to give that one. It's not awful. I don't think the world needs it. I don't think the world needs it. That's what I think. It's fine. There's lots of fine music out there. Don't need to go out of our way to go get it. All right, let's see what's up next. Okay. just like all Oasis songs, that song is at least a minute or two too long, and not really for any good reason. And that's not even like one of the good Oasis songs. It's like one of the fine, barely, I would call it acceptable B tier, C tier Oasis songs. So you know what I'm gonna do? Yeah, that's a negatory, good buddy. That's a negatory. It's fine, but no one needs to engage in any rescue missions to bring that song elsewhere. So, that's how I feel. Alright, what do we got? 3 more? There's some better ones in this playlist, I promise. I don't know that this is one of them. Pretty basic mid to late aughts indie rock. Nothing special, nothing offensive, just fine. How do people feel about that? How do people feel about that band? Oh, I'm seeing a lot of no's. I'm seeing a lot of fines, a lot of ehs, a lot of eh. Well, you know what that means. Yeah, that's a negatory. Sorry. Sorry, the enemy. I'm sure that's, you would love to get some more licensing out of that song, but not gonna happen. Sorry to say it. Anywho, couple more. This next one should at least be a little more familiar to everyone. Here we go. I don't like the Sex Pistols. I never really have that much. And, you know, people rag on them and rag on John Lydon in particular, and with good reason. He's an asshole. But the thing is, and I think the thing people are really underselling here is that as the first pop-punk band, the pop-punk genre wouldn't exist without them. We owe everything that is pop-punk to the Sex Pistols. And I just think that, you know, we have to honor that on some level. Because without them, pop-punk just wouldn't exist. It just wouldn't. So, with that in mind, we're going to make our determination here. Do we need to go out and get Pretty Vacant by the Sex Pistols? Yeah, that's a no. Not important. Like, what the fuck? No one needs to be giving John Lydon more money at this point. He's going to dump it into more mobile games. So, it's not worth it. That's what I think. All right, we got one more in this playlist, and you know what? I think it is going to be a yes. I will just go ahead and say this has been all no's so far, but I think this one's going to be a yes. Here we go. What a stupid song. What an absolutely stupid song. The false endings, all that stuff. Yeah, it's kind of a monotonous drum beat, but it's, you know, it's energetic. And I just, like, I can't say no to Motorhead. It doesn't matter what the Motorhead song is. I can't say no to Motorhead. So you know what that means.
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah. That's all there is to it. Can't say no to Motorhead. It's impossible. Whew. Yes, I said no to the Sex Pistols, and I said yes to Motorhead. These are the choices I make. They're hard choices, and as the only arbiter of good music in the world, these are binding. I'm sorry. Them's the rules. All right. Let's start getting the next playlist together. I'm going to swap on over here. Ooh, I made some money. Fantastic. I'm not going to spend it on anything because I will probably not load this game up again after we are done. Let's take a few more questions as I start to get this old next playlist together. Let's pull up my my little page of notes here, and then we're going to find what we're looking for here. So get your questions into the chat while I set this up. There's like what, 65 songs on this soundtrack, and 33 of them never made it to Rock Band. Now, the key thing here is that I am not including the guitar battle tracks because I don't even know if you can play those on drums. Those don't really count. And I'm not playing any of the in-game custom songs because I don't need to do that to anyone. But, you know, there's plenty of good music here to play through. And I think this next playlist is mostly very, very good. All good stuff for the most part, except for one, which is not as good, but we'll see. Last one, just getting it ready, and then hitting start. Okay, now I'll take your questions. Let's see what we got. Looking through here. Kabubi asking, of the two Guitar Hero full albums, which was the dumber get? Oasis's Dig Out Your Soul or Metallica's Death Magnetic? Dig Out Your Soul is definitely a dumber pick because by 2008, I don't know that anyone really needed to be buying Oasis full albums. Whatever you think of Death Magnetic, it was a big get at the time, so I get it. It's fine. And obviously that stuff parlayed into their lasting relationship with Metallica. So, you know, I think Death Magnetic is justifiable. The Oasis one, maybe not as much. Sort of unjustifiable in the same way that getting that Target exclusive Pearl Jam album was not really justifiable for Rock Band. We all made our choices. What else we got here? Keep in mind, you have to @me, Alex, on the Giant Bomb chat. If it goes to staff, I can't see it in the replies, so I can't be certain. I guess I can look in the questions tab. That might be there. Let's see. Oh, I can see the staff stuff. Okay, well, there we go. So I have a couple of things here I'm going to look through. I'm going to look through them now. Kane High Window 9 asking, hey, Alex, how are the sets in Rock Band games determined? Did MTV just give you songs? Did labels come to you with offers? Or did Harmonix have ideas and ask labels themselves? Kind of a mixture of everything. I don't remember MTV really coming to us with, like, hey, you have to put these songs in the game. I think sometimes when the licensing people would do deals with certain labels, certain management, what have you, other bands would be offered as part of that, and sometimes those songs would make it in as part of that. The only time I can really think of MTV straight up bringing something to the table was the Crooked X situation. So, yeah, but for the most part, it was a lot of, they would think of songs, they would go after them if they were available, they would try and get them, whether that's because the artist was interested or the masters were around or both. If stuff made it in there, a lot of times it would be moved to DLC if it was, I mean, I was never on the music team, so I can't tell you definitively how this worked every single time. But I do know that, like, sometimes stuff was packaged, sometimes stuff was part of like a deal, you know, hey, we got these songs, can you help us out by putting this band in the game as DLC or on the disc or what have you. So it was a lot of negotiation between different factors. That's how I would describe it. The Rizzle asking, have you ever talked about Harmonix's process of getting DLC for Rock Band? I was pretty shocked to see a Converge song from 11 years and 3 albums ago pop up this week, and made me wonder how the songs are picked. So these days, a lot of the songs that they pick, are old Rock Band Network songs, and that Converge song was one of them. They've gone out and they've relicensed a bunch of that stuff, and they've been putting that stuff into the game as official DLC. That is why a lot of 08, 09, 2010 metalcore has found its way to Rock Band in recent years, because that is a lot of Rock Band Network stuff. If it is a newer song, I think it's just, hey, I honestly don't know. I don't know what their current licensing criteria is outside of the Rock Band Network stuff. I don't know who's necessarily in charge of that stuff. So back then, it was a mix of people at MTV and a couple of people at Harmonix. I got myself a little towel now because it's very sweaty in here. It's very humid today. I have 2 fans going. I got the big fan, and I got a little fan here that shoots some nice mist on me. It's nice. So, yeah, again, I think it's one of those things where it just really depends on the situation. But that's why a lot of that, like, weird from 10 years ago stuff has been showing up. Dramata asking, was there ever a band that had a really over-the-top one way or the other reaction to being asked about going into Rock Band? If you're talking about, like, bands that were, like, super into it and, like, were very stoked to be in, if I remember a few. Jimmy Buffett was a big Rock Band fan, so much so that he brought Rock Band equipment with him on one of his tours and was like having people play it in the parking lot before the shows. I remember this stuff got leaked because they were very excited to talk about it. Roy Orbison's widow accidentally leaked the first Roy Orbison DLC out there. I think in the official Roy Orbison newsletter or something. She was very nice. I think she was just very excited about it. So we didn't hold it against her. Trying to think of a few others. I remember, I think at least 1 or 2 members of Jimmy Eat World were big Rock Band fans, and I think we had them in the office and they played, and they seemed pretty stoked about it. I can't think of too many others that were just like over the moon out there. There were a couple that were like, as far as like negative, I mean, there weren't any that were like really like overly negative or like shit talky about it. I do remember that Spinal Tap was not the easiest group of people to work with. I remember them not really wanting to do much in the way of promotion for their stuff, which, hey, they're old men. I get it. It's fine. We did get a lot of their music, though, so. And I don't think this was the band, but I do remember Iron Maiden's management being very, like, they were into being in the game, but they were big old sticklers for how we promoted their shit. I mean, most big bands were, but I remember in particular Iron Maiden, we put out like we were getting ready to put out a press release about the DLC, the first like big clump of songs we did for them, and their management sent back a bunch of changes, and one of them was very adamant, like underlined, like, hey, you have to do this. I think in some of the, like, Aaron had written a line that was like, are you stoked for more metal? Well, guess what? And they were like, we don't think this is appropriate. It's not that people should be stoked for more metal. It's that people should be stoked for Iron Maiden. And I'm paraphrasing here, but that was more or less what they said. And if I was Iron Maiden's manager, to be fair, that is exactly the kind of tack I would take. Because if you're managing Iron Maiden, you're doing everything in your power to try to make sure that Iron Maiden is front and center in everything. So I get it. I wasn't pissed about it. I don't think any of us were pissed about it. We were like, oh, okay, yeah, if that's how you want to present it, that's fine. I just remember that one sticking out of my brain a little bit. I get it. It's your job. All right, I'm going to take like 1 or 2 more, and then we're going to move into the next playlist. Surely the Who were stoked. I don't know about the Who. They were happy to be doing it, but I don't know that the Who are actually happy people, so who knows what their energy was. They were certainly happy with the money we gave them. Yeah. T.S. Squire asking, Alex, ever seen Sublime live? I assume it's because you're saying that because of this. Yes, I saw them live 2 or 3 times. All of them in Petaluma, including that show, which was their last show with Brad Knoll. So, yes, I have. All right. 6 more songs out of the playlist. I'm going to go ahead and hit let's get into it. There's some good ones on this playlist, I promise. I promise. Wolfman, I'll answer your question as soon as the song is over. Just remind me in a second. I think I can explain that. of wild to me that that one never made it into Rock Band. Not that I'm like, I love that song or anything, but it was a hit. It deserves to be there just as much as, say, Lit's My Own Worst Enemy. You know, it's in that category of like, totally fine, totally solid, enjoyable enough. And you know what? I think it's enjoyable enough for...
Oh, hell yeah!
Right there. Right there. That's an oh hell yeah. Okay, one question here. Miles the Wolfman asked us right before we started. I just want to answer it real quick. What was the story behind Coheed and Cambria's 10-speed being a cover for DLC when you had real Coheed for Welcome Home? So I don't know the exact answer for this, but I have a theory, and I think it's right. I think that song was originally licensed for the Rock Band 1 soundtrack. I think a few of those early covers that eventually got released as DLC were probably originally intended for the Rock Band 1 soundtrack. I feel like I did ask about this, and I think that's what they told me. And then at some point, maybe Coheed came back and were like, well, what if you did this song instead? We have the masters available for that. So that would be my guess. And then at some point, they just realized, well, we have this recording we went out and made, so maybe we'd sell it anyway. And that's probably what happened. That's probably what took place. Anywho, all right, I just wanted to answer that. Let's move on to the next song. Here's a German band I've never heard of. I don't know a damn thing about the Beat Stinks. I don't think that song is bad, but is it worth going out and getting? I mean, I did just full combo it, Does that tilt things in one direction or another? Does it maybe...
Oh, hell yeah!
Sorry. I clicked on oh hell yeah accidentally instead of going back to the game. Still, that's still a no. That's a no. It's all right, but we don't need to go get it. We don't need to. All right. Now, these next 4 songs are all live tracks. Some of them, I assume, this is the only way they could have gotten the song because the masters just don't exist. A couple are not as much that situation, but they're mostly, I think they're all good songs. And I think even the live versions are pretty good for the most part. This is maybe my least favorite live version, but it's still good, I think. Here we go.
Right now it's time to kick out the jams!
I understand the compromise you have to make there. The odds of the master recordings of MC5's Kick Out the Jams being readily available and in good working order, not very high. So you got to find a way. And you've got Wayne Kramer here. He's a member of the band. I get it. It's probably the closest you're going to get. But you know what? There are also some very good cover versions of that song out there. Someone in the chat just mentioned the Presidents of the United States of America version. The Rage Against the Machine version is fantastic, I will say. So, while I am not necessarily heartily endorsing this particular live version of Kick Out the Jams, should Kick Out the Jams be in Rock Band?
Oh, hell yeah!
No question. No question. They should put out 3 versions of Kick Out the Jams. One with Wayne Kramer, 2 covers. That's a 3-pack. Give me all the Kick Out the Jams you can give me. That's what I think. Here's another one that's live, but still pretty good. Hey, it's Sting from Animal Crossing. I think Demolition Man is a pretty damn good song. It's a better movie, but it's a pretty damn good song. And I think that even if you can't get the original version of it, if you can only get it live, I think for me,
Oh, hell
that's no
yeah.
hell yeah. That's what I think. It's fun. Trust me, on drums, that's very fun. Even if it is fake Stuart Copeland, it's still pretty damn good. Yes, Simon says, oh, hell yeah. All right, we got a couple more in this playlist, a couple more live tracks. So these next two songs are actually in Rock Band. In the original master versions, like the album versions, are in the game. But these live versions are substantively different. And so there are a couple of other ones that are live that are also in Rock Band, but I think they are literally the same live recording. Sweet Home Alabama and On the Road Again. I think it's the same live recordings. If it's not, they're not that different. These are pretty different. So this next one is by a band you might have heard of. They're called Nirvana. So here's the thing. Going back to an older question from earlier in the stream, what is an album I would love to see in its entirety in Rock Band? I think Nirvana Unplugged is an album I would have fucking loved to have seen in there in its entirety. As of right now, the only song from that album that's in that game is the Come As You Are version. And so even though About a Girl, the album version is already in Rock Band, I think I gotta say, to specifically the Unplugged version.
Oh, hell yeah!
Go ahead and put it in there with, a live recording of the Puddle of Mud version. That's what I think. All right, we got one more. This next one, again, there is a regular album version of the song in Rock Band already, but this live version is pretty wild. And I think it's worth doing here, so we're going to do it. Here we go.
kiss that guy. Put my hands all around. Don't know if I'm coming up or down. Am I happy or in misery? Whatever it is, that girl put a spell on me. Help me, baby. Help me, baby. Just the end of time. Help me, baby. Oh, baby, you got me going around. Not necessarily stone, but beautiful. Yeah, put your hands up, boy.
Exhausting, but fun nonetheless. So the question becomes, do we bring this live version of Purple Haze to Rock Band, given that the album version's already out there? It is a lot of fun. It is the chart does feel different enough that I think it can be justified. But the thing is, the Hendrix family is one of the most notorious for sending, DMCA takedowns, for, very heavily enforcing the copyright on all things Jimi Hendrix. So you know what? As much as I love Jimi, I love his music, I adore him. Because of the Hendrix estate, we got to go ahead and say, is that fair? Is that justified? No, but I don't care. It's my rating system. I can do whatever I want. Nonetheless. All right. I'm going to hit A here. And then I'm going to go back to the old cam shot. And then we're going to bring up another playlist here. So I'll take a few more questions from the chat. We got 2 more 6-song playlists and then 1 3-song playlist. So that would be 15. 15 songs. That's what we're doing. Okay. Let me bring up my notes. I love Jimi Hendrix, again, let me say, and I think that version is super fun. Do they need to go out of their way to license it? I don't think so. And do we need to give the Hendrix people more money? Probably not. All right, so let's get some questions in the chat while I get this next set of songs together. I hope you were all enjoying this trip down a particularly interesting. I think it's an interesting trip down memory lane because, again, I didn't own this game. I was very. I mean, granted, at the time when this game came out, I worked at Harmonix, so I did not want to go out and give them money. But I never hated this game. I always thought it was pretty fun for the most part. I don't like the way it looks necessarily, and I think the dead-eyed, gaping-mouthed versions of the real-life musicians in this game are not good. But the song list, for the most part, is pretty solid. There's a lot of repeats, obviously, on here, but if I didn't own every rock band song, I feel like it would not be as much of a problem for you. And the thing about the games that came after is that other than Metallica, I can't say I remember a damn thing about any of the other ones. That's just the unfortunate reality. All right, that's the playlist made. Let's go ahead and let's check in with the chat. What do you got? What questions do you have? What do you want to know? Repeater8 asking, how do you feel about the charting and the timing windows in this game? For me, they always felt slightly off. I mean, I'm going to be biased on this one because I am so used to playing Rock Band that everything that isn't that feels a little weird to me. I don't think it's bad. I think the timing window you can get used to. It's not terrible. I think the charting for what the pads that they were working with makes, for the most part, a lot of sense. There are things I wish they did, like the splitting out the double hits and certain things around some of the charting of the fills and whatnot that I kind of wish they did differently. But other than that, I don't feel like they did a bad job. Like, keep in mind, Neversoft, when they took this over, had just been coming off making a million Tony Hawk games. So they were given Guitar Hero 3 and said, this is what you do now. Make these rock video games. And for what they were able, I think in the time that they were given, I think what they were able to accomplish for the most part was pretty impressive. It doesn't mean I think all the games are good, but I think they got put in a fairly impossible situation. I think they mostly made do. I have no ill will toward Neversoft and the people who made these games. They just were unfortunately on the other side of the West Side Story battle that we were having over Plastic Instruments. And so, it is what it is. Maddie FTM asking, do you think Plastic Instruments genre has a future on next-gen consoles? Probably not. Other than maybe continuing to support the existing Rock Band stuff, no, I don't. Nobody seems to want to spend that kind of money. And the economy that we're in right now, that feels like a bad investment. I'm just going to be honest with you. Despite the fact that I love these games, I would love it if they made more of them. I just don't think that's a good financial bet for anyone right now. I think they're better off just getting the drip feed of DLC for Rock Band and continuing to support that. I would love it if they did another line of hardware, but even if it was limited. But I just don't see that happening. Kane Highwind asking, do I see that Beavis and Butthead is coming back? What do you think of that revival season from like 10 years ago? So I love Beavis and Butthead. I love that show. I grew up watching it. I adore it. I think the revival season was pretty good. Not necessary in any way, but like definitely captured the right tone. I don't think they need to do more. I say this with love. There's all these revivals of old shows seemingly coming back. I saw something about like a Mission Hill reboot or whatever. I don't hate it. I don't think Beavis and Butthead really matters anymore. It was always a really enjoyable, stupid show. It has such a specific 90s loser energy to it that I just don't know that it resonates now. Like, I've gone back and watched it. It's still funny, but I don't think new Beavis and Butthead has anything to really offer personally. That doesn't mean I don't think they should do it. I'm willing to give it a shot. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's necessary. Marco Mang says, whatever happened to that Pearl Jam live Rock Band game? I got canceled. Nothing untoward or weird. They just got canceled. I think Green Day did not sell as well as people had hoped. I think that game was always going to be a weird fit because a lot of it was live recordings. And they were not putting the band in the game. They were going to use video footage in the background of the charts. And I just don't think it was ever a great idea, personally. Like, it doesn't mean I wouldn't have liked to have seen what they ended up doing with it, but I just remember playing some of the prototypes and thinking, I don't know about this. And then they decided not to do it. The Blue Bomb, I'll take one more here before we get into the next bit. Was there any fake PR feud between Rock Band and Guitar Hero while you were at Harmonix? I don't think it was fake. Yeah, I mean, it got snippy from time to time between... I remember the director at Neversoft who worked on at least the first few of their Guitar Hero games. Definitely talked a little bit of shit in the press. And for the most part, Harmonix didn't really want to do that. Like, when I got there, I remember they were very... It's like, we don't feel the need to talk shit about Neversoft. We don't need to feel to talk shit about their franchise. John Drake would occasionally throw some jabs in there, here and there. But for the most part, we didn't really get into it. And I don't feel like Neversoft really ever had a problem with us. I think that they were just doing what they could to make sure that they were putting their game front and center, not trying to get too into the weeds with like what the competition was doing. And again, they got put in a really difficult position of having to make those games very quickly and like pivot into some different shit. So there was like a little bit of back and forth over the years. But I would say there was like, you get more of it from like your average Bobby Kotick presentation than you would from anyone at the development level. I will say one of my all-time favorite Bobby Kotick moments was that E3 where they announced Guitar Hero World Tour, and they were doing it like interview style with him talking to this woman, and then he mentioned that they were doing a full band game, and she's like, "Oh, like Rock Band," and sort of like that bit in The Simpsons where they slow down the tape of Ralph's heart breaking. You can see the moment on his face when he's like, "Oh, fuck." And I thought that was pretty great. That's a fun moment for me. I will always remember that fondly. I mean, look, in the end, Bobby Kotick is rich as shit, so it doesn't really matter too much. But I'll take the little bits of Schadenfreude wherever I can. Did I pronounce that correctly? Maybe not. I don't know. All right, this next bit is a lot of European bands, not exclusively, but a lot of them. Here we go. Let's play this first one.
Shake, 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 shake. You want me now? Straight to the waist. My body right. Ain't let it touch. You play A&E for the day. When you and I hands were tied. She's above love up in your eyes.
That's a negatory on that one, buddy. Say it. Sorry to say it. That's a no. My hands are getting a little slippery. A little bit slippery. That song's just the vocals don't do it for me. And again, is this random indie rock band from 2007 really worth going out and getting? Probably not. The rest of these bands, I think, are maybe a little more worth it. Let's move on. You know what? I didn't know who Trust was before. I went and looked them up. They seem like a pretty good band. And that song, simple as it may be on drums, is a hell of a lot of fun. So you know what I'm going to say?
Oh, hell yeah!
That's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say, oh, hell yeah, to Antisocial by Trust. They should maybe get a few Trust songs in there. That'd be cool. Yeah, I mean, I think that it's cool when they are able to bring bands in that are not exclusively singing in English, because I think it's cool when bands sing in their native tongues. I think it doesn't matter if I don't understand the lyrics. I just think that's cool. So you know what? Yeah. Let's move on. There's another German band. I've seen a few people in chat excited for this one, so here you go. Kent are from Sweden, I'm told. Fine. Whatever. I'll take that hit. I was wrong, and I'm sorry. But you know what? It's still a good song. Again, simple to play on drums, but never let simplicity be the enemy of good. That's how that saying goes, right? Right?
Oh, hell yeah!
There you go. Yes, I know I missed a couple notes at the end there. I did miss one other one during the song, so no, that wasn't what fucked me up there. But nonetheless. All right. 3 more in this playlist. These next 3, all I believe are Spanish language songs. Or at least partially Spanish language songs. And I really like this one. It's just so funky. Like the beat is so funky. And I can't say no to a truly funky beat. I can't do it. I can't say no to the funk. That song has the funk.
Oh, hell yeah!
That's what I think. It's a good ass song. Another band I had never heard of before, but that's good shit. I like this next one too.
Il silenzio del mio cielo, per poi nascondersi ad un tratto dietro nuvole che straziano il sereno, sentirli affiorare quando tutto sembra aver trovato il giusto peso, aver la voglia di rubarli al tempo per potergli dare tutto un altro senso, distratto, stupido e testardo come sempre provo a farlo. Ho deciso di fermarlo per poterti avere ancora. Non dire una parola, sperando che non se ne accorga. Ho strappato via anche l'ultima mezz'ora, pensando che sia l'unica maniera per sentirti qui vicino ancora. Sempre più stupido e testardo, come sempre torno a farlo, e di nuovo per fermarlo e poterti dire ancora. Non parlo per un'ora, non parlo mai per ora, e stringimi allora, tra nuvole e lenzuola. Non dire una parola, non dire una parola, non dire una. Ore che lente e inossidabili attraversano il silenzio del mio cielo e si nascondono ad un tratto dietro nuvole che straziano il sereno. Le senti riaffiorare quando tutto sembra aver trovato il giusto peso, aver la voglia di rubarla al tempo per potergli dare ancora un altro senso ancora. Stringimi allora, tra nuvole e lenzuola, non dire una parola, non parlo mai per ora, abbracciami ancora, tra nuvole e lenzuola, non dire una parola, non dire una parola, che lente e inossidabili attraversano il silenzio del mio cielo e si nascondono ad un tratto dietro nuvole che straziano il sereno. E senti affiorare quando tutto sembra aver trovato il giusto peso, aver la voglia di rubarle al tempo per potergli dare ancora un altro senso ancora.
That song's also really fun. Good drum beat. Good mix up of different beats, different rhythms.
Oh, hell yeah!
There you go. That's a no hell yeah as well. This has been a good stretch here, I think. There's been a lot of good bands in this playlist. And this next song might be my favorite song on this entire soundtrack, including the songs that have already come to Rock Band. Of the entire 65 song track list, I think this one's my favorite. Someone said this was Italian. Okay, my bad. That is an Italian song, not Spanish. But, forgive me, I don't know what I'm doing. And I don't know what languages are. That's my bad. So there. I'll take that. I'll take that hit as well. Anyway, one more song on this playlist. Here we go. This is my favorite one. So you can probably guess what I'm going to say about it. Yes, it is definitely not the most complicated of all Mars Volta songs, but it is a hell of a lot of fun to play on drums. So I think you probably know what I'm going to say.
Oh, hell yeah!
I would give that one 3 hell yeahs if I could. Yes, the full version. The edit is not my favorite, but I would just the song. Just put the song. Put Mars Volta in Rock Band. I don't care which song. That one, yes, but whatever you see fit. Give me some more At the Drive-In. Put some fucking Sparta in there. Just go nuts. Get it all in there. Why not? That's what I think. 9 songs left, folks. I'm going to go ahead and make this next 6-song playlist. I think I accidentally said sick song playlist, but you know what? There are some sick songs on it, so I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it. All right, let me bring up my notes here, take a few more questions for the next bit. And then we'll do our 3 Tool songs after this, after these next songs. Whew. Feeling it in here, folks. It is a very humid day in New York. I don't know if you know that. It's very hot. I have 2 fans going. I have my usual industrial fan, and I have this little dealy bob that I bought that spits some water mist at me. And you know what? It's helping. It is helping. But maybe not enough. Because it is still very hot in here. But I don't care because I am having too much fun playing these jams for all of you. And once again, I would like to thank you all for joining me on this musical journey we've been taking these many months. And, you know, I've been having a blast with this. It's one of the few joys I've taken in all of this. And I'm glad that you're all digging it too. It's been a good time. As much of a good time as anyone can have these days. All right, let's take a look at the questions here. What do we have? Oh, this is a good one. Safety Sam saying, I was a tester there almost the whole way, asking about Jeff Rosenstock or John Cage's 433 sometime. But despite mentioning it a lot in relation to Rock Band 4 DLC, have you ever actually explained what Rock Band Network was on stream and how it worked? That's a good question. I wonder how many people actually remember this. So Rock Band Network was Harmonix's attempt at, I would call, democratizing the charting and releasing of songs to some degree. Obviously, there was a pipeline at Harmonix where, you know, the songs would come through the proper licensing channels and they would get put in the game. But that was like, it would, because of the manpower and the hours involved, there was a hope that we could find a way to get more songs into the game without necessarily having to do it all ourselves. And the idea was going out and letting people go and do the work themselves of contacting the bands, getting the licensing stuff together, and then doing the charting themselves and releasing them on this separate storefront, which was called the Rock Band Network. And it was using Microsoft's, I forget what it was called. It was one of their behind-the-scenes, like, indie game release platform things. It's been long enough that I've forgotten all about what exactly it did. But so a whole bunch of music came to the game that way through people who just started up their own little charting businesses. And XNA, that's what it was. Thank you. Going through and making their own little charting businesses and licensing artists, getting the stuff together, all that stuff. I believe that Harmonix helped out with some of the contractual stuff, but a lot of it was just self-done. And so a lot of these songs that have been coming to DLC recently are songs that were originally charted for Rock Band Network by other people. And, you know, it was a real mix of potentially really interesting smaller bands, as some of which were very good, and a lot of stuff that just kind of came, maybe is best forgotten. You know, it was a wild mix of shit, and I thought it was pretty cool. Unfortunately, it was probably not sustainable in the long run, especially as the popularity of the genre started to wane a bit. But it was cool. I thought it was a neat thing. People do still chart stuff for Clone Hero and the like. Yeah, so there is like, people do their own charting for the bootleg music games that are out there. And there was like a whole Rock Band custom scene at one point that required like a hacked 360 to work. I never really got into any of that stuff, but there are people out there doing that work. There are people out there doing that charting for the people on the internet. None of it is legal, but bless their hearts nonetheless. That's what I say. Snap Caster Mage saying, if you had the space, would you get into vinyl? Probably not. I think vinyl's cool, but I don't have a record player, and also I already have enough collections. I don't need to add more to my life. Oh, interesting. For RB3, apparently you didn't even need to hack a 360. There was a patch that accidentally allowed loading of customs as saves off a USB stick, says Dramata. I want to say I remember that, and I feel like they patched that up pretty quick. But that was interesting. Yeah, there's like a particular version of RB3 you could just use. Good stuff. Let's see. Doombot 13. Do you miss The Office? Yeah, I do. I'm a homebody by nature. I don't really like being in an office in general, but I miss seeing the people I know. I miss hanging out with them. I miss being able to, slap a high five every now and again. But also, I try not to dwell on that too much because we're not getting back there anytime soon. Regrettably. Kane Highwind asking if there's one feature of the Guitar Hero games that you could bring to Rock Band, what would it be? So, here's the thing. Visually, I think, animation-wise and whatnot, I don't really like a lot of what they did with these games. But there are two things I do like. I think their venues were always much more appropriately insane for what they were trying to do. I think the venue art and the wild shit that was going on in the background was always pretty cool. And I like that when you engage Star Power / Overdrive, your character is just encased in electricity. I think that's cool too. I think they should do that. I think they should add that. That's always fun. Akiba Sasha asking, are these sight reads, by the way, or have you practiced this as much as Rock Band? No, not nearly. I said at the top, I have played when I got the game, I played through the World Tour mode. I have played every song in this game once in the last couple of weeks, a couple of them twice, but otherwise, I have not played Guitar Hero World Tour since like 08, 09, whenever this game came out. 09? Yeah, so whenever it came out, that was the last time I played it. I just never owned it. So, yeah, I am sight reading a lot of this. Crash the Bandicoot. Did Harmonix ever get close to getting Prince in the game, or was that always a quick no? I don't remember exactly. When Prince died, I was long out of Harmonix. And when Prince was still alive, he was really not big on licensing his stuff out that much. Or if he was asking a lot of money. I have wondered since he passed, it seems like the estate of Prince is a lot more interested in doing stuff on digital platforms, is more interested in licensing it. So I do wonder if they reached out and had the money, if they would let them do it now. But back then, I feel like Prince was always like a no-go, in the same breath that like Led Zeppelin was a no-go. It was just, they either wanted too much money, they wanted too much control, or they just weren't willing to put their shit out digitally, which for a long time, I think Prince just straight up did not have his stuff on any kind of digital platform for a long time, if I'm remembering correctly. At least not on streaming sites. I know that. Maybe it was available on like the iTunes store or whatever, but now it's all up there. It's all out. And, it does kind of maybe expressly go against his wishes to do stuff like that, but look, I'm not going to argue if they were to ever put Prince in this game, but I don't think they're going to. I think that's probably a little price intensive, would be my guess. All right. Let's do these next 6 songs, then I'll take a few more questions, and then we will close it out with those 3 Tool songs. There are some harder ones in this one, and this is probably a good time to mention, there's no fail mode in this game. So there's always a chance I could fuck up enough and fuck up a song. I just want to get that out there ahead of this and the Tool stuff, just in case it happens. You never know. So just want to, lay the groundwork there. I'm going to hit A, and then I'm going to switch over. And there we go. Start a song if it's early enough into it, yes. Here's the thing, I like that song a lot. It is not the most exciting drum song. But, so, do I think that Harmonix should go out and just license that song right now, right away? Maybe not. But if they were to say, go out and get some more other Steely Dan, like say Reelin' in the Years, which somehow still isn't in there, and something else, and made a pack with that song.
Oh, hell yeah!
I would absolutely be into that. I would be super into that. All right. 5 more songs. Let's keep it going. 5 more songs and then Tool. It's fine. The drum chart is fun. But do we need to rush out and get that song? No. No. It's fine. It's acceptable. But we don't need it. This next one I'm torn on. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a nostalgic part of me that definitely would love to see this band to come to Rock Band. There's another part of me that has maybe moved on from this particular era of punk rock and this particular region of punk rock. I don't know. Let's play it. Let's see what you say.
Sometimes I feel my life is going on in circles. Beneath my eyes, the blue is black. There's nothing new, no one I wanna talk to, nothing I wanna think about. I got sold down. I stick my head out of the window when it's closed. Instead of air, I get glass stuck into my head. The city's sounding, I can seem to start the pounding. Can't keep my thoughts from flying round. Can't keep my thoughts from flying round. Not sure what I'm thinking about. I got sold out. A shameless display, wearing a smile full of pain. A frameless airtake, a painting without a signature. She's waiting for someone to save her. As I pass her by, I see Cinderella. She doesn't need to the slipper. Once she fits in a bottle of liquor, there's no one to take her away. The bottle of liquor. Her eyes make mine. She sees right through me. The question asks, what's gonna do for me? I don't need nothing, just a connection. I gotta know what she's all about. 'Cause I know she's been there sold out. I stick my head out of the window once again. This time I see 1,000 faces all too clear. They wear the same expression. I've been in my face so many times. I know exactly how they feel. I know exactly how they feel. I know just what they think about. They got sold out.
I listened to so much NoFX when I was a teenager. Like, it came, like, Punk and Drublic came at the exact right time when I was discovering punk rock and heavier music. And I think for the time, that band did a lot for me. I don't know how much I really need to listen to NoFX anymore. That's where I'm kind of at on it. I think I've just maybe hit the point where it's like there's nostalgic value, but I don't really need to seek it out anymore. So I think I think Sold Out is one of their better songs. I think it would be totally fine if someone went out and licensed a bunch of NoFX for Rock Band, but do I need it? Believe me, there's a part of me that can't believe I said that I would say no. But it's just, in the moment, that's how I'm feeling. Oh, gotta wipe my hands off. I keep losing sticks. Oh, all right. Three more songs in this playlist. This next one All right, I made fun of this band fairly recently during our bad music stream, but this song is surprisingly fun to play. Here we go.
So I look in your direction, but you pay no more attention to you. I know you don't listen to me, 'cause you say you see straight through me. But on and on, from the moment I wake to the moment I sleep, I'll be
the thing. While I am by no means a Coldplay fan, as I said during my bad music stream a couple weeks ago, the old Coldplay I don't think is the Coldplay that is as worth making fun of as the newer Coldplay, especially the like Hymn for the Weekend era Coldplay. I don't mind this era of Coldplay. And honestly, as a drummer, and as a drummer who deeply loves anything in 6/8, it is hard for me to say no to a really fun 6/8 beat. But I did anyway. We don't need more Coldplay in the world. I'm sorry, it's just not necessary. It's weird that this, clearly the most fun to play on drums Coldplay song, is not in Rock Band, despite the dozen other songs they have. But we don't have to go back and get it. Anyway, here's the next song. I accidentally hit OK. God damn. Here's the thing, that is not the first, second, third, fourth Metallica song that I would pick if I were to somehow wave away the last 12 years of history and make it so that Metallica would ever license their songs to Harmonix at this point. But that said, Trapped Under Ice is still good as hell, so you know what?
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah, that's an oh hell yeah. That's an oh hell yeah! I need a second. I'm just gonna wipe my brow and my face and my hands before I take this last one on this playlist. And then we're gonna play them Tool songs. So get your questions ready because we're gonna take a short break after this one, and then or at this next one, and then we're gonna do some Tool. Get ready for that. Here we go. That shit's wicked fun. I like Muse. I liked Muse. Night to Sidonia is a better song than any of the ones that are in these games. But that is wicked fun to play on drums. But here's the thing, the Muse fan base during my time at Harmonix was maybe one of the most annoying with regards to their favorite band being in the video game. So with that in mind, I'm just kidding.
Oh, hell yeah!
Of course that's a no hell yeah. I'm just kidding. I'm just fucking with you. I can't not. It's too fun. It's too fun not to. All right. If you've got any questions, get them ready right now, because I'm going to take the last couple here, and then I'm going to get this Tool playlist together. So button your britches for that. It's going to be a time. My hands are sweaty. My sticks have gone flying several times during all of this. I'm doing my best. But there's just a lot happening over here with all these songs. There's going to be a lot happening in these songs. Whew. All right, let's get these together. Yep, that's 2, and that's 3. All right. With that, let's take a few more questions. See what you got. Dramata asking, was I ever directly responsible for any DLC? No, not at all. Not even remotely. I put in certain band suggestions over the years. I don't remember if any of them ever got picked. If they did, it was probably long after I was gone. So, no. I take no credit for anything. I mean, there were lots of songs I suggested over the years. Someone asked, was there any songs I tried to get in the game but couldn't? I mean, so we had an internal message board. There was a whole song request section where people would just post, links to stuff and be like, this would be great for the game. I posted a ton of stuff in there over the years. Again, I don't think any of it ever got picked. Scrubby McDub asking, what do you think about Jesus Piece, Philly hardcore in general? So, hardcore, I'm in a hardcore band. I used to listen to a fair amount of hardcore back in the day, but it was very much in the, sick of it all and, crossover thrash band stuff. So, I am not as up on the current scene outside of New York as I would like to be. That said, I have heard a couple of Jesus Piece songs. They seem real good. Philly, I know, is a hub, in Pennsylvania in general, because I think they do a big hardcore festival in Pittsburgh every year. Probably not this year. They seem good. I am definitely looking to explore more of that stuff as time goes on, but I have not gotten too deep into it. One band I discovered, thanks to Eric Pope recently, is a Bay Area band called Mass Arrest. They are super fucking good. They have one record out on Bandcamp. You should check it out. Definitely check that shit out. Steel Knight 2000 asking, what were the best perks working at Harmonix? So, there's a few things. One, I really like the team I worked on. The community team was a really weird, interesting thing that I feel like at that time, a lot of studios that weren't MMOs didn't really have the way we had. Working with Sean, Aaron, Pope, Trites, all those folks, Eric Chan, it was really fun being on the road with those guys and doing a lot of the road stuff. I didn't necessarily love traveling all the time, but I did like most of the places we traveled to. I think doing the weird bar nights with Rock Band was always really fun. As far as actual perks of the company though, let's see. We had a really cool soundproof room where we had Rock Band set up, and it was also where we had our Guitar Hero stuff set up as well. That was a really fun room to fuck around in and play. There was a really good drink fridge, Kabubi pointing out. Yes, there was. It was an excellent drink fridge. Cannot complain one bit about it. The weekly Friday lunches for the entire studio were a lot of fun. Usually the food was very good. And I will just say, in general, the camaraderie there, I got along with, I think, pretty much everyone that I worked with there. I have mostly fond memories of just about everyone. And just, the weird personalities of that studio. Kurt, the guy who was, the front desk dude, who was in that band, The Conks, and Bullet Volta. And he's a real character, and he was super fun. And I always really loved chopping it up with Kurt whenever I would walk into the office. Ben Carr from the Bosstones worked there, and Ben is the sweetest, nicest person I've maybe ever met in my life. and I adore him. I adored pretty much everyone who worked there, so I can't really complain. You know, there weren't necessarily like a ton of like specific fringe benefits other than just working at a studio making a game I liked with people I liked. That's how I feel about it. And I was on QVC, says Super Joe. It's true. I did meet Joan Rivers. That was weird. That was very weird. All right, it's getting late. I'm getting hungry. And I've got 3 fairly difficult songs in front of me. So what do you say we get this moving? Before I do, I just want to preface this. This is maybe one of my favorite funny things in any of these games. So these are the only Tool songs that ever appeared in Guitar Hero or Rock Band, for that matter. And they put out, I remember when they announced this, they put out a video with, I think, Adam Jones and maybe Danny Carey. I forget who the other one was. But it was them talking about how, like, they didn't want to just have Tool songs in the game. They wanted there to be a visual experience that was flavored, that was, you know, the essence of what Tool and its art and its visual style was. And I always thought it was fucking hilarious that what they ended up with was this fucking weird, like, Windows screensaver, gothy metal anus looking thing that you hang out in through the entire set of their songs. It's not great, but it's great. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So, let's have fun with that. I'm going to start over because I accidentally left the mic on. That's my bad. Just going to restart. What am I looking at here? Truly, what am I looking at? What is this? What are these faces? What is this shit? Oh, hey, look, a piece of art that vaguely resembles one of their album covers. They finally got something. I'm going to reserve rating these songs individually, and at the end we will get to the judgment when we have judged all Tool songs, because in the end we're going to play all the Tool. We're going to do it anyway, so we'll talk about it at the end. Let's get on to the next one. Let us return to the anus of Tool. Just like the artist intended, I'm sure.
silent hand, our tendency to atrophy any sense of compassion.
Just all this talk of we gotta respect the artists, we gotta get, you know, the art of the band in there, we gotta make sure these Tool songs are presented correctly, and then they just let you go fucking buck wild with shitty drum samples. Like, how great is that? How great is that? That's what I think. I think it's pretty great. All right, we got one more of these. Those two were from their 2001 album, Anima. And this next one's from their 2006 album. The song's called Vicarious. Well then, folks, let's talk about it. Tool. A band certainly of its time. A band that I certainly enjoyed a lot when I was younger. I think that some aspects of Tool have aged about as well as Fruit in the Sun, but I think that as a Danny Carey fan, I love the dude's drumming. I can't get enough of it. Can't get enough of it. I think I'm going to have to go ahead and give Tool, as far as their inclusion in Rock Band.
Oh, hell yeah!
But let's be clear, it's contingent on one thing. There is one guideline I give to Harmonix, I give to Tool, I give to whoever would negotiate a deal. It agrees. The anus has to come with them. If I can't play in the anus, why am I even here? Just saying. Well, on that note, I think it's time to say goodbye for this week. It is late. It is hot. There's pizza waiting for me. I need to shower. I'm very sweaty. Thank you all for joining me on this little excursion into Guitar Hero world. I think there's some songs in here worth rescuing, and some not as much. But I had a lot of fun, and I hope you did too. I hope you all have a good, safe, cool weekend. Be excellent to each other, as always. I will see you all next week. I'm going to go lay down, and I'm going to hit the button that says we stop streaming. Good night, everybody. Have a good one.